Thank God it's Good Friday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajulu Olabisi Ubu, and with me are the ladies. Nima Akashat Zibiri. How you doing today?
I'm fine. And it's Good Friday. Happy birthday to our dear President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose birthday is today, although they've told some people not to, all of us not to do that.
Are you serious?
Some people are not tellable. So you can see that on the front page of the paper. But all done, sir. Recently, I'm very impressed by some of his works, and more than impressed about how he handled the burial of the
17 soldiers.
Slain soldiers. So well done, sir.
Happy birthday to our president.
Okay.
All right, Ramat, how you doing?
I'm doing very great. And I want to correct you. My name. Yes. The pronunciation is Ramatu.
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 Exactly.
You didn't tell us on time.
She calls me Ramat. Before Yoruba people soon change that name.
You are not civil. You are not. Are people calling you correct?
Do you know why? Please, tell us.
Because you are talking to the right person.
Exactly.
She will not allow anyone
mispronounce
her or mispronounce her name. So to have you
different Ramat.
So
Ramatu.
See that ganging up.
This for the first time. You didn't tell
Your
me.
view viewers, they are ganging
Nima
up.
does not become Nimat. She will explain to you how her
That's
name
why I call her
Rama.
because I have cousins who also.
Yeah.
And that's the correct one. If they call you Ramota,
You take it.
But what? You call me Mary.
That one she's playing with you.
she's Mero Jere. She's Mero.
Ramatu. I don't let that one.
Yeah.
Okay. How you doing, Miriam?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, the Easter break.
Correct.
Gosh, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
My eyes. And then, of course, what is this with our electricity? They say another collapse. And the heat wave is terrible. Now, I'm looking for like a proper breakfast TV word to use for what people are going through. The fact that we still have to struggle with electricity is making it even worse. We need to do something permanently and soon about it. Yes.
So, it was my birthday on Wednesday.
Yes.
And I got lots of gifts. I got lots of
Calls.
calls.
Our timeline.
As in, back to back. Some gifts brought tears to my eyes because it wasn't about the volume of anything. It was just the thought that this person, who I've been looking like, why do you have to go through this stress? To just say, no, Madam Bisi, I just have to give you something.
Grown.
I just have to give you something. I just have to and I was like, I was seeing airtime flying into my, account. Anyhow, I was seeing cash. Even a customer sent me money. I was like, this is a customer. We really do not have relationship, but she watches the show and she said she's so blessed with what we're doing and all of that. It was huge. It was so huge, and like I said, it was my receiving year. I didn't plan to spend, I spent some money, but I didn't plan to spend so much. I wanted to receive, and the universe heard me and I received. Now this morning, YK, God bless you, Mama, sent my own gift through Nima. I'm rocking that
I
gift.
did not get 10%. Okay, why can you me this?
So this is just to say thank you to everybody who showed up for me, who supported me, who prayed for me, who blessed me. Everyone, God bless you. I couldn't reply everybody. I tried as much as possible to reply everyone that reached out to me on WhatsApp because it's close-knit. But the Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms, I just want to say I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So the ladies are harassing me actually that I forgot them. I can't forget you people now. You're my sisters. They took me out on that day and they gave me a wonderful gift. The gift that I desired because I insisted that I wanted that type of gift. It didn't make sense to them, but they gave to me. God bless you. Ladies, can we now move on to the newspaper? Let's start the review with The Nation. Major headline. Bank mergers likely as CBN directs 500 billion capital base. Apex Bank expects roadmap by April 30. Financial institutions get March 31st, 2026 deadline. LP disowns NLC energized board of trustees. Monarch surrenders. Prof, 6 others wanted over soldiers killing. Quality of work on Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road excites Umahi. Renewed Hope Initiative lifts anti-TB campaign with 1 billion. Tinubu lifting Nigeria to enviable heights, says Buhari, governors and others. Eminent Nigerians celebrate president at 72. My life no longer safe, says journalist freed from military custody. What stories do we have in the nation?
Okay, I have the Central Bank of Nigeria. Central Bank of Nigeria announced increased minimum capital requirements for banks. International 500 billion, national 200 billion, merchant 50 billion, regional 50 billion, regional non-interest 20 billion, non-interest national 10 billion, non-interest regional 1 billion. Banks have 24 months to comply with options, including equity injections and license upgrades. Promoters of new banks must meet new requirements. Existing banks must submit an implementation plan for April 30th, 2024. Compliance will be monitored. So some of the banks are going to merge. There's going to be merger and acquisitions and all. And from other news, I heard that some banks have already been able to declare that they have that capital base, 500 billion, likes of Zenith Bank, UBA,
Those
and Access. Yes. And then I'm very sure some other banks are going to start coming together.
This happened a few years back, where from 72 banks, we now have only 25. Now, we don't know if some banks merge.
Yes, now only 5 will remain.
Well, as long as there's 5 healthy banks,
that's
what is important.
Because the...
So we'll have mergers and all of them. I have the Labour Party story. So Labour Party claims to have had its convention and elections in Nnewi in Anambra State. But INEC, according to the Chief Press Secretary of INEC, he said the INEC was not involved in the Nnewi conference. They had no hand in it. And the Board of Trustees, now the NLC-backed Board of Trustees, are taking over the Labour Party, with Labour Party saying they don't know of any such Board of Trustees. So according to the Labour Party National Legal Advisor, Kehinde Edu, he said the party duly informed the Commission about change in venue and date. But the Commission insists this does not conform with Section 82, Sub 1 of the Electoral Act of 2022 that requires that parties shall give INEC at least 21 days notice of convention, congresses, conferences, or mergers or meetings. And they said that such mergers and electing of members of its executive committees and other governing bodies or nominating of candidates must be predated with a 21 days at least notice. But the Labour Party, by their National Publicity Secretary, says they are unaware of a Board of Trustees takeover of the party. But this meeting and elections was backed by 350 delegates who were in attendance, and they voted that Julius Abure is re-elected unanimously and overwhelmingly. In that meeting, they had the attendance of the Abia State governor, who was represented by his deputy, the deputy minority whip of the House of Reps. They had 10 members of the National Assembly, the entire members of the Abia State House of Assembly, the Speaker, the deputy minority leader of Imo State House of Assembly, and they elected sub-government officials and all of that for their party. So I hope that they tidy up before the next elections, because when crises start like this, party good end. So they had about 6 members who have decamped to the PDP right now. So it's a lot of it's huge.
I have, so to say, a traditional ruler, Clement Ikolo Ogenerukewe, has been detained by the Delta State Police Command in connection with the killing of the 17 officers and soldiers of Nigerian Army. The police command says that Ogenerukewe is the Urukwe one of Imo Kingdom. He turned himself in after the defense headquarters had declared him and 7 others wanted. As we remember the circumstances of, that led to the naming of these 7 people that have been wanted. They said amongst them, there's also a professor of physics, Ekpepo Arthur, and a few others. For just time, I'm not going to take every one of them. But this Mr. Arthur is the President General of the Ewu Kingdom. He's Professor of Solid State Physics and a member of Nigerian Institute of Physics, Nigerian Association of Mathematical Physics and Science Association of Nigeria, SAN. So, amongst them seem to be people of stature and caliber. So, with the traditional ruler, he's already taking himself there. I know that we're going to hear more, and we'll see how this thing, works out. But we also had like some update from the Defense Media Operations. He talked about the fact that it did not make sense, that citizens need to be aware that they are the military's first line of intelligence, and will always work together, with the military to honor their nation in this way. He does not understand how a community can carry this out, knowing that the soldiers were working for the community. He also spoke about the 313 Boko Haram suspects that had been released by the military. As we remember, that made quite the rounds. He says that they were released by the courts because the court says on the basis of lack of evidence. And so they're saying that they will keep doing their best as military officers to gather proper evidence when they, arrest these people. So those are some of the things that affect how these prosecutions eventually are carried out. So, that's an update on that as well.
Let's take a short break now. When we come back, the newspaper reviews continue. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I have a story before we move quickly to another paper. They said another 1,455 Lagos State retirees have received 4 billion as pension payments, being their past service benefits prior to the commencement of the contributory pension scheme in 2007. And this is making the 104th retirement bond certificate presentation. So the government had paid over 3 billion to 1,013 retirees in the 103rd presentation in February. And, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had promised that another 4 billion, outstanding will be paid in March, while the government will try to clear out all the backlogs by April. And this is what is happening right now. I think this is really very good. People who have worked for their money deserve to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And I hope that other states will see this and, pick up from there. Let's move on now to the Punch. Major headline: CBN raises capital base for mega banks to 500 billion. So they're celebrating the president here, and it's covered almost all the page. Happy birthday to our president once again.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, Buhari National Assembly. Sanwo-Olu, others hail Tinubu at 72. Delta bloodbath: military may place bounty on monarch. Others declared wanted. So did we take stories from inside the paper?
Okay, I took because we had this back and forth, myself and Mo, yesterday on the assassination allegation against the Are Ona Kakanfo of Yoruba land. So the Yoruba Nation advocate, what's his name, Sunday Igboho, and the chief of staff to the governor of Lagos State had written a pre-action notice to the Are Ona Kakanfo, Iba Gani Adams, threatening that they will go to court if he doesn't retract a defamation that he said, a defamation audio that was, that levied allegations of assassination against them. So in that audio, the details are in this story. Go and get the Punch. And his insights, claiming how they were paid to assassinate the Are Ona Kakanfo. And this he could not substantiate, but because Mo had mentioned that the ONI had intervened, and I think Shukwala was like, no, this is defamation, and it was more serious. The chief of staff to the governor has withdrawn his intention to continue with litigation, and the letter was written by his lawyers to the Are Ona Kakanfo's lawyer yesterday, withdrawing that. So that's basically what the story is about.
Okay. Which other stories do you have in the Punch?
I got this from inside the Punch, is the Nigerian Customs Service in the unit Zone B, Kaduna, said that it intercepted bags of foreign parboiled rice, cartons of foreign spaghetti, unregistered organic fertilizer, used cars, amongst many other contraband, worth 769 million in 5 weeks. The report really just stating, the different contraband items that were intercepted and how much, they would cost in the market. And, and just saying that customs remain resolute and will not relent, as there's no amount of trick or blackmail or orchestrated attack that will dampen their resolve. So, of course, as we know, when customs go to do their work, there are different ways that they also try to make sure that they are unable to carry their work. Either they, try and attack them, and they're saying that nothing will stop them from doing what it is that they are meant to do. And, if you're caught, the offender is liable to a fine of 2 million naira or imprisonment for a term of 2 years or both. So it says that to those die-hard smugglers who sponsor mobs to attack our operatives and organize illegal demonstrations against us, they cannot and will not discourage and deter us from carrying out our jobs, he said.
Do we have another story in there?
No.
Okay, let's move on now to the Daily Sun. Ningi draws battle lines with Akpabio, gives Senate President 7 days to reverse suspension or face legal action. Okwama, Defense Headquarters declare Professor, 7 others wanted, kills 212 terrorists and naps 252, rescues 244 abductees in 1 week. CBN pegs top banks recapitalization at 500 billion and gives a 2-year deadline. Intermediate and regional banks get 200 billion and 50 billion respectively. Freed journalist reveals harrowing ordeal in DIA custody. Then IPI, NGE, NUJ, mall action against CDI, and CDS ask Tinubu to punish officers involved. Again, Bianca wins suit challenging Ojuku's will. So I have a story here. The House of Representatives have said that they must recover 2 Bell helicopters, Bell 26L4 BZB and Bell M261L4, which was belonging to the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, NCAT, Zaria, and this was sold to private individuals. Now, Ademori Kunye, that's the chairman, House of Reps Committee on Public Assets, said that the investigative hearing on the sale of the 2 helicopters in Abuja had resumed. It started on Thursday, and they said they are concerned over the sale of the 2 helicopters to private individuals when the college was left with no helicopter for training, and they were questioning the process leading to the sale of the helicopters as security agencies, including the Nigerian Air Force, Navy, and the police indicated to purchase them. Those security agencies had said they had submitted various indications. They had gone there to inspect the helicopter, saying that they were interested in buying. But those ones said, no, we are not going to sell. All of a sudden, they found a way and sold it through a private auction company to private individuals. And now the college does not have helicopters to practice. And so I'm glad that this is under investigation. People are denying left, right, and center. The person who is in charge now said at the time he was in charge, I'm trying to get his name, he said he was in he was acting at the time, and he was not aware of all the processes of selling the helicopters to, the private individuals. The college, I believe, needs to have their own helicopter, at least for their practices. We can't have individuals buying this thing off government, and only God knows how much they sold to them. But I hope that the investigation will reveal all of this. What stories do we have in this?
Okay, so I have the major headline. So Senator Ningi is not taking the suspension lying down.
Yes.
Did not take it
lying down.
He went to get the SAN, Femi Falana, to represent him.
Okay.
And he's threatening to drag the Senate President, who is also a lawyer, before the LPDC, Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, for flagrant disregard of a High Court order and the Court of Appeal ruling. And they wrote on his behalf to the Senate President, alleging, accusing the Senate President of being an accuser, a prosecutor, and a judge in his own cause on the day of sitting where Ningi was confronted by the House, by the Senate House, on his allegations in that BBC interview. Of course, on the floor of the House, he had denied making the allegation of a budget pattern of 3.7 trillion. But the House went on to suspend him, and they said that this is a total disregard of his right of freedom of speech, which he had expressed at the BBC interview, and against the House rules of 2018. I'm trying to get how that act is called, the National Assembly rules of 2018. But they are waiting to reply. Okay, the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act of 2018. They said that he contravenes that, and he also contravenes the laws of the land. He contravenes the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights. It contravenes our 1999 Constitution, and they are threatening to drag him before the LPDC and go to court if he's not reinstated and all his entitlements paid.
Okay, any other
Yes,
stories?
I have a story. I wasn't aware of this story actually, but it's about Bianca Honor, the widow of the late Chief Dean Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu. They said that she's been in court with Chief Debe Ojukwu seeking to be, and he was seeking to be declared the first son of the late Ikemba of Nnewi, and was also asking that restraining order on Mrs. Bianca be placed from interfering with the administration of the estate of Ojukwu. So the story in a nutshell is that he claimed he is the first son of Ojukwu, and he was sort of acknowledged as such by Ojukwu. But the family says that he was never acknowledged as the firstborn. He claims that even associations and different publicly, he was acknowledged as the son, but there was never privately, and in the will, Ojukwu's will, did it mention him or acknowledge him as the first son. And because of that, he was also saying that being the first son, of course, that entitles him to the administration of the estate and not Bianca and another person who is, based on his own account as the second son of Ojukwu, but for all of us we know as the first son of Ojukwu. But so he sadly also passed away in the course of this case, but his two daughters had taken this up, and just yesterday was declared that he had lost the case and Bianca remains the administrator of the estate. But it made me feel a little sad that, if
Why
he
did
truly...
his father recognize him?
In the will, it seemed that he may have been recognized, but just
if you didn't recognize me in the will, you didn't recognize me.
No, there are different ways. No, if he accepted that, yes, you're my child and everything.
But then I don't have anything for you. That means you have not accepted.
No,
there are different ways.
Death doesn't prepare
exactly. Who knows when he wrote that will?
I think she should be more magnanimous now to accept her husband's grandchildren.
Yes. And try
because
and do
the son has
something for
passed.
them.
No, maybe he's not in accepting.
What
I think I'm understanding from here is not about accepting them.
Provision. That's what I'm saying.
Provision.
That's what I'm saying.
She should be able to do that.
So she should be large-hearted.
Magnanimity of her heart.
Exactly.
And bring everybody together because
she's the
just
most
as
matriarch now.
Just as death has given a sign to her husband, the death of the son in question has given her a sign. She might go. And the children, you don't want to leave a beef.
Yeah.
It divides family.
Okay, quickly, our last paper for today, the Vanguard. NIN SIM linkage. NCC insists non-compliant subscribers must be barred today. Confusion as chairman, directors fight over sack of Eco Disco MD CEO. And Nigeria records second electricity system collapse in 2024. Who has what? I'm taking just
Okay, so I'm taking the NIN SIM linkage. NCC insists on asking non-compliant subscribers today. Barring any last-minute change of mind, all subscribers with 4 lines and above whose SIM registration data fail to match their national identity number, NIN, data will be barred today. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, this is as the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has confirmed that it will not be reviewing its deadline to bar them today. A reliable source from the Commission revealed that the Commission's position was premised on its objective to clean the country's SIM ownership database and ensure that criminals do not take advantage of having multiple or linked SIMs to carry out their nefarious activities. The source said the Commission's management decided at a crucial meeting held yesterday to review. So they said that there are some people that have more than 1,000 lines and they are busy using it to do, scrupulous activities, and also they now want to make sure that they link them up to their NIN, and if
they can trace
you
everybody.
can now come down to 4 lines. You can't have more than 4 lines.
What do you need? Okay, I wanted to say, what do you need 4 lines for? But madam, 10 lines.
But I'm not in front now. What's your own? All right, ladies, thank you so much. Let's take a short break now. When we come back, we look into the top stories of today. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Debola Daniel, son of former Ogun State Governor Otumba Gbenga Daniel, has brought to light an alarming incident where he was denied access to the KFC branch in Lagos State due to his disability. Taken to his Twitter page, he shared his distressing experience, detailing the humiliation he endured at the hands of KFC staff. He lamented the systemic discrimination faced by disabled individuals in Nigeria, highlighting the need for societal change and inclusivity. Now, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, had since shut down the particular branch, and that's, raised a lot of thoughts on social media. So tell us what you think about this and join the conversation and call us on 081-076-41679 and 0902-416-3440. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag Your View on TVC. There was a major uproar. A lot of people were talking about this, that apparently he had gone to the KFC while he was waiting for his flight, I believe. And then the staff, one of the staff had told him off, you're not supposed to be here because of his disability. And he took to his Twitter page to announce it. And before you realized it, investigation had commenced. According to the papers I took this morning, I read the story anyway. Investigation had commenced, and then the KFC outlet at the airport was, shut down based off of this. So I'd like to know what you think. I personally have seen a lot of guests who have living one form of disability or the other come on set here and talk about how they find it difficult to navigate some areas. It seems like Nigeria is not ready for people who are living with disabilities. The airports, we had one guest woman who was treated so bad in an international flight. She came here to share her story, and it just seems like we are still not ready, and a lot of people are not aware on how to relate with these people. Even if you don't have the proper training, common sense will tell you that some things, if you are not sure, you can ask. Empathy will tell you there are some things you should not do. If you're not sure, you can ask your supervisor, how do we deal with this sort of situation? But let me come to the ladies. What are your thoughts on what happened?
Okay, so my grouse with the issue is the politicizing of the issue itself. At the time young Mr. Daniel went to the airport, he did not write Gbenga Daniel's son on his back.
Exactly.
He was a human being on a wheelchair with a bit of difficulty because he has to wheel himself in. And you'd expect that every human being, whether staff or non-staff of KFC, would be responding to that need. It's just natural to want to help somebody that has a bit of disability. Maybe if he had an issue climbing up the stairs, you can ask, what would you like? I can, just be empathetic. But when he now posted that tweet, Nigerians went to go and dig up the father and left the issue. They say pikin for. You say the mama waka, she back am, she hold am. People started talking all sorts of things.
Okay, sorry.
They say the child fell. You start to address whether the mother was around, whether the mother is busy, whether she's a good mother,
whether the mother is a
good mother. Why is she not carrying the child? The child that fell, you left the child.
Sure.
The way we act, when I read it, I just stopped because this season I don't want to too much toxic things. Just try as much as possible to keep myself in one small cocoon and hide myself. I did not push it further. I kept seeing the story popping up. Somebody is addressing something that's important, and you left the issue because we cannot debate the fact that he's in a wheelchair. That's a lifelong issue, a disability he's living with. Yeah. You left it and you went to the father because we are looking for every opportunity to get these politicians, and so their children, we must sacrifice them.
I think the customer care environment in Nigeria is very harsh.
Very.
We are not just getting it right because this is another incident from that Erisco food something that just happened recently and all. He came in. In fact, he's even supposed to be the first person to be attended to because he's, you know, he's disabled. So he should be the first person to be attended to.
Yes.
You're supposed to have empathy. Oh, this guy, look at us, you know, hurry up, go and attend to him and
Make
all
sure he's
of that,
comfortable.
which is okay. But, you know, at the end of the day, you now go and tell him wheelchairs are not. So he's not entering, he shouldn't be hungry. He can't be hungry because he's disabled or what. You understand? So these things, and we don't even see it around here in Nigeria. I don't see where they are being considered. Like maybe when you go to shopping malls or you go to, you know, transport or whatever, they are not considered in anything. Most of these disabled people, I don't even see them around like that. I'm sure they are ashamed. They are just sitting down in the house, you know, they are ashamed of doing things and all. So yeah, I think this is a welcome development coming from him, coming out to come and say this now. At least the government should start thinking of including them in stuff, making sure that they are part of things.
Yeah. Okay. So when I first heard the story, I was like, is it really a KFC policy not to allow people, or not allow wheelchairs? Because they said that the person insisted, the manager insisted, or the person claiming to be manager insisted that no wheelchairs were allowed. So I just went, I tried to do a few research. KFC, United States, I think that's where they started from, and their wheelchair policies. And I saw lots of complaints here and there about KFC, especially when it comes to customer service. But it was, I did not see anywhere where it showed that that was their policy. So I now knew, because apart from when I first heard it, I said, Niger, I know how Nigerians can be. It may not be any policy, it may have been maybe something which she did not understand. And then she made it
deal with him.
Yeah, and then she now made it. We've seen it too many times. You enter a shop and somebody will tell you, please, you cannot sit there. Or you cannot stand there. And you know it has nothing to do with the shop. It has nothing to do with what you're selling. Yes, the person will be like, that's what our madam says. And you know that it has nothing to do with what your madam says. Just overzealous and not properly educated, under-trained staff sometimes can cause you all sorts of wahala. These people, I'm not even going to call their names because of the politicizing of it. I'm going to call them people, Nigerians, these Nigerians that were involved in this, try to explain to her, why this may not be the right way to go. She didn't get it. And for me, that's what's even sad, because even if it was a policy, if she had the proper education, if she had common sense, she would have realized something. I'm like, this is uncomfortable. It should have been uncomfortable to her as a human being to refuse someone who has to use a wheelchair to access their premises, services. It shows that even her as a person, she was not really thinking about it.
Did you see the video?
I saw her. I saw she was quite adamant.
Yes.
She was quite adamant.
She was very sure.
Yeah, that this is not allowed. That's our policy. We don't allow wheelchair.
Yeah.
For me, that she kept saying it over and over again. Not once did it click to her that, my God, what am I saying?
Because she
As if she was a lion that was on the wheelchair.
No, the thing is, she doesn't
think it's a detrimental thing to say.
Thank you. She did not realize that was
that you're talking to a human.
Goofing upon goofing.
And you're not hearing yourself.
You're not hearing yourself.
But I think they must have told her that.
No, I don't think so. I think
the way she was saying it, she was very sure.
You never see people who believe in them.
Because they came back.
So,
can I finish?
Yeah, finish, please.
Okay, so there's something that we also have as Nigerians where we do not put the needs of people living with disabilities at the fore.
Yeah.
So we have talked many times on this table about creating ramps so that they can, have access.
Yeah.
We talk about different things that we need to put in many Nigerian establishments. I don't know if we have any toilet facilities for those who use wheelchairs. So that mentality, that's why someone like that, who calls herself a manager of an international franchise,
exactly,
can stand and open her mouth, not realizing that she's committing the biggest goof on international space in the world.
Yeah, because she thought it was secret.
Because she thought it was a thing. She thought it was something that she could be proud of. This is our business place, and we're not going to allow you with your wheelchair to come in. So now, what this has done is that it has allowed for this to become a national conversation.
Yeah.
And I believe, and I also like the government stance immediately on it,
Yes,
because it sent a very strong message.
Yeah.
But I hope that it doesn't end there. I hope that this means now putting in places of business, access for those living with disabilities.
Yes, I like how you said it. But when we come back, we'll also talk about the government's action. If, shutting down that establishment at the time was like the right thing to do. Could there have been another way to do it? But the conversation continues when we come back. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still having the conversation of what happened, and KFC had to be shut down. And, we're reading the comments. Some Nigerians were saying that why did the fan move to shut down that outlets of KFC? That they did that swiftly because it was a politician's son that it happened to, on one hand. Others were saying it had nothing to do with a politician's son. After all, the manager did not know he was a politician's son and, treated him that way. Now, this goes to what sort of trainings do we give to people who help us manage our businesses? And aside from this particular issue, I've seen several issues where the people handling, the customer service people treat customers badly. They just talk anyhow to them. They give you some certain rules that you don't understand. Now, when you see the owner of the place and you present the matter, they say, but we didn't give you this instruction. Why didn't you answer like this? Why didn't you do this? And I'm asking, what sort of training do we give to people who work for us? Do we also understand some laws in terms of how to treat our customers ourselves? Because if we don't understand it ourselves, we'll not be able to train the people who are working for us on how to handle customers. But what are you saying about the fact that the government moved quickly, moved quickly to shutting down the establishment?
It's a matter of class and status, and that's a fact.
Wow.
I have the Muslims living with disability, Muslims with impaired vision.
Okay.
A group that I partner with. And you don't see the same reaction because they are just ordinary Nigerians. And that's the sad part of the politicking. The sad reality is that if he did not have that platform of being the politician's son, this movement will still be slow. Most businesses, if you check, filling stations, even hospitals, treat people living with disabilities with disdain. Yeah. An average Nigerian will say, I don't want to have a child with impaired vision or the one with a bit of deformity, mental-wise. So they call them names. And you don't see consequences immediately. If it had been, we would not get here. The mentality would have changed if you knew that the consequences were as grievous as your actions. But we see that continuously happening until we had this incident. This incident has raised an issue, and I'd like the young man in question to be an advocate going forward for people living, because they go through a lot of things.
Do.
You want to get in on a bus, you're going out. I used to have a friend who was blind. He's still blind, he's a broadcaster. And when I take him halfway to Badagry, I have to come down. First of all, we'll find a place to park. He can handle himself. He did not ask for any help because he likes to carry himself with dignity. But I will find a way to park. This is me being empathetic. Follow him to the nearest bus before, first of all, sorting out his cash. So we put 1,000 naira in the left pocket, this one in the wallet, so he knows what he's paying for. But I see what he goes through. And I would like that it is just natural. It is just norm. Because we have all the laws in question that have been contravened. We have laws ensuring that they have their rights and their rights are protected. But who enforces them?
Who implements?
Exactly.
If he reaches out to the nearest police officer that, see, this person just took my money and didn't give me change, you say, yeah, sorry, you have gone.
That's if you got sorry.
That's if you get sorry. So we know, sorry, Ramatu, we know that people living with disabilities have a tougher life to live in Nigeria. We know that fact. Real. But we have this reaction because he has a platform. This happened some time back, I think under Jonathan's government. The Navy officers usually, when they want to abuse anybody, they would abuse the person. Or a young lady was abused by a Navy officer in Lagos, and her clothes were torn off her in broad daylight because her father was the clerk of the National Assembly. We got a reaction. Do you know how many petitions lawyers are writing today? They will still have to get it published by a newspaper before the government will react to it. This is when it becomes an embarrassment that government reacts. So this one is another truth that we must address. If it wasn't a Daniel or Senator Gbenga Daniel's son, would this be the reaction?
Let's take this call from Tunde. Tunde from Magodo. Good morning, Tunde.
Hello. Good morning, BC. I understand what you're
saying,
and I agree with Nima. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I agree with Nima. It's not only trees. Our customer service in Nigeria is very poor. Very, very poor. I'm a BP patient. I encountered what you are saying about a month ago.
Hold on, Ramatu.
I'm a BP patient.
Nobody talking.
Can you hear me?
Nobody's talking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, so I don't agree with you that it's coming from a political point of view. Yes, it's happened to him, and he, because he's a popular person, at least he's bringing it out for it to be handled and all. It can happen to anybody. It's not because his dad he's just an ordinary citizen. And you know, when it happened, the person did not even know that his father is that wealthy or something. You understand? So she treated him based on being a Nigerian.
But the government, what she's saying is the government's reaction was based off of the fact that he was a politician's son.
So he tweeted. He has the platform. He has not just that platform, he has the political
backing. So
when his tweet was done, he got the right reaction.
Attention,
which is the reaction any disabled person who alleges any such act should be treated, especially when you even have video evidence of it. But we have so many of them whose petitions are lying waiting because government will say, oh, one office, the letter is before one office, we have set up a body, an agency to see to this, the body for the kidney. I have this association, Muslim Association of Visually Impaired in Nigeria that I go to. And when they organize their events, even at the local government where it was organized last year, no government official attended.
Wow.
Not one attended. And we're talking about the reaction that you must give to them. You know, I go there, I enjoy sitting with them because I see what they can do, and it reminds me to live a humble life. But how many of us in political offices would say, oh, these people are doing something, let me show up?
Yeah. We have another caller, Olumu from Ilorin. Good morning.
Good morning. Greetings to everyone. Yes, welcome.
Greetings to you too.
And we have to attend that. The problem we are having in Nigeria is that those of each other. Being that the fact that the fact that we are facing in that manner. What is like just a copy, you don't understand and any other media territory like that. Will anybody even take any action? So we should learn how to love each other. It could be anybody. In as much as we are still living, anybody, God forbid, can find himself in that position. So the person should have thought that, okay, what of if it was him or her doing that? What will he do? So that is just my concern. We should know how to relate with each other. And I believe closing down, well, I wouldn't know the extent at which people are anyway, but closing down that place, to my own point of view, is not the best thing. They could have allowed business to be going on and take other measures to address the issue. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Miriam.
To respond to a few things you had mentioned when you started. You said about the sort of people we employ and the training that we give them. So usually for establishments like that, they will say that at least have a a degree from the university. So we assume that people that have that level of education would have that level of exposure. We have a certain level of exposure. So you may not think that to sit with them and explain to them the importance of inclusivity, you would think that, that is common to the person. But we know that, but in the Nigerian setting, we cannot assume that. So I agree with you, we need to take extra time to train people. But it also falls to the establishment. If we go to that KFC, is there anything that's been put you know, to allow wheelchairs to go into that establishment. If it was there, even if they did not have any special training for her, she knows that, oh, okay, this is to allow, there's a ramp to allow wheelchairs access. She knows to allow people who use wheelchairs. So even you, your establishment, you haven't put that in. And the airport authorities, you did not insist that those facilities be placed there as a business that is doing business that's doing business on your premises. So that problem is everybody's problem. If she knows about handicap parking, if she sees that there's parking reserved for handicapped people there, nobody needs to tell her. Nobody needs to give her extra training. Just hold on, please, Ramat. Then we also said that if we now went to the fact that because of who he is, it allowed for government to respond as quickly as it did. And I believe truthfully that was the case. Anyone else who did not have that name, the influence, the platform, and all would not get that immediate response from government. That's just the truth. But I don't see it as a negative thing. What I see it as a positive thing. Yeah. But also, I'm using it to charge people with influence, with name, to get involved in issues like this. Yeah. Because, you know, sometimes we create these bubbles and think it will never happen to us. And look at it, it has happened to a son of a former governor. So if we don't use our platforms well, if we don't give back to communities, things will end up happening to family members who are not there, and then you can sometimes a little too late. So someone like him, I like what Nima was saying, he needs to get involved in advocacy for people living with disabilities. We've had a young man here who had some form of muscular atrophy. He speaks so well.
You met him?
Yes, I met him. He's constantly talking about
young man.
Yes, brilliant, well educated, well exposed, and he gives voice, you know, to a lot of people that are in that situation. So I hope for Mr. Daniels that he will do something, you know, beyond just this tweet. That he would be a name, a brand, and an advocate for people living in disability, and insisting, because he also has access to government now, insisting that government makes it compulsory for establishments to create facilities for people living in disability so that they can live with some dignity and conduct themselves in the world with some dignity.
Yeah, let me take this call. Tom from Abuja, then I'll come to Ramatu. Good morning, Tom. Are you there? I can't. He's gone. Okay. Ramatu, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so what I wanted to say was that, are you sure we're just debunking the fact that it's possible that the management told her that people with disabilities are not allowed?
It's also possible.
They must have told her. For her, she stood her grounds and said that they are not allowed in there. So the way you were saying that she's supposed to use her common sense and all of that, but she's working according to instructions. She was giving the instructions.
Well, she's the staff. Maybe one incident had happened where the superior will say to her.
Them to close it down a bit, because you know Nigerians, to a large extent, we may overreact. So let them shut it down for a while. I know they're going to open it and all, because KFC is an international brand.
It is.
Abroad, when you see where the people with where they park, you see it's they draw it there on you go and park there. It's a serious offense.
Why didn't they put it here? Could it be
we
also
have the laws.
franchise?
There's no law they have there. People don't have here. It's enforcement.
Exactly.
So Ramat hit something. So some things can happen, and you have your superior just says to you, next time, don't allow this kind of people here.
Yeah.
And so she'll be very emphatic when she's saying it that we don't allow. But now, sadly, in Nigeria, we do. She's the sacrificial lamb.
She's the scapegoat. She will be the scapegoat.
So what is KFC's stand on this disreputable act towards their establishment? See, today, I have not read it.
They've not written it.
Do you understand?
No, they have.
Please read it. Because they should take a stand, and an apology should have been tendered by the establishment to Mr. Daniels immediately.
Yeah.
The moment somebody says this, your PR should come out and let the world know that you're not that wicked face. We're calling you as a brand.
Yeah.
You know, come out immediately. I've not heard them. We've not heard that the lady has been relieved of her duties, which are the things that they should do so that to reassure government that they don't deserve a lockdown. Because President, if you ask me personally, lock it.
Okay, so
lock it.
In the spirit of somebody's business.
So that they should do the right thing.
Exactly.
In the spirit of fair hearing, I don't have it, but I'll keep looking for it.
Yes.
I saw
producers may help us.
Yes, I saw a response from KFC saying that this is not in keeping with their values and what they believe in, and they will sort that house in-house. But I'll look for it and also read it out.
All right, ladies, let's take a chill pill. When we come back, we continue this conversation. We'll spread it across other aspects of life. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So Miriam said something that, was interesting to me. When you have a platform, you should use that platform for good. You should use that platform to speak up for the people who do not have that opportunity. And I've always believed that when God puts you in a position, whatever the position is, you have a sphere of influence. No matter how little it is, you must be able to stand up for what is right and what is for the good of the people. And, over the years, we've talked about the fact that we have our medical care not so top-notch, not at par with international best practices, just because our politicians are not patronizing those businesses. Because they say something, when you want to throw stone into the market, and you think I'm vexed and I want to throw this stone, be careful, be watchful. You may throw it to your family member who is in the market. So you don't throw those stones, right? Because your people may be there. Now, this has come back somewhat, what we neglected, because I don't care. It's about me and my family. As long as I am secure, I'm okay. Will find its way back to, if not us personally, to our family members, to our children, because we are still living in that society. So, with the sphere of influence that we have and the sphere of influence that our leaders, our politicians have, how do we advise them to start being a part of the issues that we have here? Because if they think they have escaped it because of the money that they have, their children may not escape it. Their family members may not escape it. How do we tell them to, okay, our schools are not so good because your children are not there. If your children are there, the schools will be better because you will insist that some things are on standard. If the hospitals, if you are using the hospitals, you will insist that they are better because you don't want to come and die inside the hospital. So how do we begin to talk to people in leadership places to just take up their space and do what is right, not just for the good of the people, because it will also come back to be for their own good at the end of the day.
So Mr. Daniel belongs to a lot of charities. I read some of them. He backs and funds a lot of charities, including empowerment, for people without disabilities, and he does a lot of things. But the one thing he did not do was put his influence and class and power to people with disabilities. For me, imagine that, each time this came up, we had someone of his caliber standing up for any of such people. This would have gone far because you are able to relate. You understand. If somebody says, I can imagine, you'll be looking at a person, can you imagine? But if someone like him tells someone on a wheelchair or somebody who is visually impaired or someone that I understand your pain, the person will believe it. Yeah. Once I was made to address at the Dorcas Cancer Foundation the mothers whose babies were, dealing with cancers. The Dorcas Cancer Foundation is a childhood cancer foundation. And I went there and all the mothers, I saw one had the swollen tummy. I'm trying to remember what cancer that was. And this boy is from class. His clothes, even on the bed, did not look like a sick child's clothes. He was well-dressed. The mother well-dressed, her hair on point. But I could see the sadness all the way. And there was a way I looked at her, she dropped a tear. I wanted to say, I understand you. How do I understand you? When I'm only dealing with malaria and cough. It's not the same. Cannot be. I'm just on the board because it's not the same. When somebody is actually going through something, and daily he sees your plight, he would understand better. I would like to see him on the board of several of these bodies, talking about it, using the father's position as a senator, as a former governor, to say the enforcement must be strict. Let us enforce it. Every time such things happen, let it be strong enough to deter, enough. Measures must be strong enough to deter. You know, if we see those things, I'm sure that this would have been avoided. And we can start from this case in question.
Yeah, I like that. Let's take this call. Alaji Ahmed from Jos. Good morning, Alaji.
Good morning, my sister, my dear sister. So I greet every one of you, please. You are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, see, my own question is this. You see, that is what we are saying in this country. We need to treat ourselves well in this country. We need to show love for each and every one of us in this country. You see, that is what is really spoiling this country. We don't love each other. It's not only when you see somebody with disability, you need to treat the person badly. Even somebody that is completely okay, you need to treat somebody okay. Show love to somebody. That's number one point. My question is this: must it be a son of a dignitary before they close that KFC? It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. According to this your adage, you said the other time. Yoruba used to say, Toba Shiomolo want it better. But if it is a Motalika, what will happen? It's not supposed to be. What if it happens to somebody that is not even up to be, or is not a son of senator or this? Will they close a KFC? That is the question. The way it happened to Senator Benga Daniel, it's supposed to happen to somebody else that way. That is not even well to do. You understand? So that is my own point. Please let us treat ourselves well in this country. Let us show love to one another.
Thank you so much, Halaji.
So beyond showing love, beyond that emotional, let us be kind to everybody. Let us show love. Is that let us have policies and enforce those policies that allow people living with disability live with dignity. It's not enough to be, hey, sorry, come, let's carry this wheelchair. It's not enough. That's not even what they're asking for. They want to be able to live their lives independently.
With dignity.
Yes, recognizing that they have these disabilities, but, you know, that society has put in place measures that will allow them live with dignity. Because I know Nigerians, we have a lot of that, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, see, this person cannot see you. Let us surround this person right now
and
give them that emotional whatever for that minute, and then we move on. That is not enough. So I don't see this man's involvement and the quick response of government as a negative thing. I don't see it as
a good one for everybody.
Exactly.
Yes,
I see it as a good one. I just also feel there's something that can be built on. So because when we keep pushing the narrative of, it's because he's this person's son, that's why they did something. What will happen next time is people...
If nobody's son, nobody will do anything.
Keep quiet.
Yes.
Like before they say it's because I have a name or I know somebody, I'll keep quiet. And then he will sort himself out quietly.
And then we lose out.
We lose out. So what we need to see, what's the positive here? How can we latch onto this positive and make sure that the positive for one person becomes the positive for many
everybody.
people?
Amazing. We have another caller, Yemi from Oshobo. Good morning, Yemi.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Okay, yeah. I think this is a very good development. Not good in the way you see it, but good. I have a child that is autistic, so I understand very well what happened. I don't think it's fair that the government is taking an action against a private organization when even the public ones are worse. I went to get a passport for my son, and I had to leave because he couldn't stand still. And I saw the way he was being pushed and pulled and stuff. So I came back home, and that was last year. And then the end of this year, I've been teaching him how to stand still. Because he can't stand still. He doesn't stand still. And this happens in a public organization. And so when they're talking about what's going on, even the government has fingers pointing at it. In every area. So I think it's a good thing, but I think even the government itself should disabled, but also the ones that have a form of neurodiversity. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I like that. So I've always said something that when there's no law, there's no sin. And what I mean, aside from the fact that we have the policies on ground, even the government parastatals don't have some of these things that we are talking about, that we are holding private businesses accountable. And I want to ask, we know the policies that we have. The people who sign off on these private businesses, how many times have they gone to check to insist that you do not put this, we are going to fine you, you should have this, you should have that, you should have this? We don't check. But it's very easy to quickly shut down this place when you have aired and it's in public domain. If he didn't make this noise and we don't know, probably they would have settled it quietly. But because he made the noise and we knew, it would be seen to, let's do something. Government want to act. But you are acting, you did not follow up on the policies where they were setting up the structures. A lot of establishments are everywhere that don't have these structures. And they got licensing to set up those structures without government. So which government body is responsible to ensure inclusivity?
Yeah.
And how do we hold them accountable to doing their job, preventive in the first place, before we now go to reacting? The Nigerian government is always reacting. So we quickly shut down this one, we shut down that one. If it had happened in the government parastatal, would they have shut down the whole place? That's a question.
So this makes me sad, just thinking about, how these privileges will not go around, will not allow it go around. I saw a video of people living with disabilities.
I want to hear everything you want to say. Let me take this call from Abuja. Tom, good morning, Tom. Tom, we can't hear anything. Go ahead, Nima.
So I saw a video of people living with disabilities where they identified each type of disability they had, and they'll say, I can work with government, I can do this, I can do that. You know how many establishments even have a quota of number of percentage of people living with disabilities that they can employ? We're talking about a privileged person with disability trying to buy food. How many can even afford
to even buy the food?
So it just makes me sad as I sat here just thinking about, when we address this issue, we must address it from a human point of view. So we must address it as, Mr. Daniel's rights being abused. But we know that when we live here without addressing the lack of balance in how these privileges go around, the matter will just continue the worse. We will leave this matter now. KFC will be very sorry because they just discovered who they addressed, who they treated wrongly. Yeah. But we have not taught Nigerians any lessons. I wish that there's a way that we can do this and restart the conversation of the rights of people living with disabilities, such that an average child from primary school will know that, if my friend doesn't have the ability to do things, I must show them a certain level of empathy. I must open the doors. I must be accessible to them. I must carry that burden for them. I must, share my shoulder with them. It doesn't have to be the friend of a big man, the child of a big man, but my friend that I love, someone I would do anything to protect. I wish that that's how this conversation would go. I'm wondering how we can move it from Mr. Daniel to everybody living with disability and what they have to face. Yeah. Right now, in this fasting period, my friend, the person that has the Muslim Association of Visually Impaired Nigerians, is fasting. Coupled with her condition, she works, she went to school. I saw them, they do all sorts of things, to the point they made Vaseline, they made petroleum jelly, they made candles, they did, that one form or the other trying to get empowered. Yeah. They're empowered. We even saw one who had, disabilities on her legs, who drives a Korokwe bus for a living at that event. And you'll be wondering how many more skills do they need to get before society can pay attention to them? Because they have to go to school, they have to do this,
and then we
just make it a bit easier for them. And nobody wants to live a life of dignity.
So we have another caller, Yakub from Dokmemu. Good morning, Yakub.
Yeah, good morning.
This is Yakub.
And good morning, everyone. I
Good
don't
morning.
know, maybe you guys are hearing me very well. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. You see, this very particular issue is a very serious one indeed. Let me just say something about what Sister Nima said earlier, that he went to one occasion whereby disability people are doing something and then no government official appear. They will never do that. But they can only appear when the politics is on. maybe during the campaign period, you will see them gather all the disability, disabled people. They will be telling them they will do this, they will do that, promising heaven and earth. But after they got to the power, nothing will be ever done. And then we are talking about KFC here. BC, have you gone to the bank? Every bank in this country, none of them make any provision for disability people. Even some of the general hospitals, they don't make the provision for disability people. Even the government practices, as you said earlier, it goes to Alaska, goes to everywhere. Not every one of them make this kind of provision for them. So what are we talking about? And then let's say this. It is because it's a former governor of Ogun State son. That is why they closed this thing down. As you rightly said in the studio earlier, if it is ordinary person, they will never do such. Then, come to think of it, who is going to fight for this guy? Nobody. You know why? There is no any provision for them in the politics. When we are talking about APC, PDP, and other people, there's no quota for disability people to fight for position. There's some other position they're supposed to leave for disability people. Nobody should fight. Nobody should contest different particular position. Or else, if you are disabled people, I don't mean that somebody in the National Assembly is a disabled people, it will be able to take their issue up anytime, any day. So now, everybody in the National Assembly, who are the disabled people there? Nobody. So those are the things we need to look into. Thank you, and God bless you guys.
Thank you, Yakub.
Okay, so I think we should think of solution. Like the government should try and create awareness, let people know about these people and all. At the same time, at home, I realize that some people are ashamed of these disabled people. They don't like allowing them to come out, you know. They make sure that they are indoors. They help them with one or two things and all of that. So at least let those ones to start speaking out. They should start speaking up. They should also come out and make sure that their voice, people hear their voice and all, and add it to whatever the government is going to do for them and all. And this disability thing, you know, it can happen to anybody. It's not from birth. You can have an accident. You can so it's better we treat it now, because it can happen to anybody at any time. Yes, as long as you are alive, you drive, you move around, anything can happen to you. You can lose your leg, your hand, anything, you know, and all. So so we should start thinking of how to, you know, create awareness for all these things, and the government should come in and help us, you know, around this area. I
also believe we should start it early. It's one of the theses I did for my dissertation in my master's in education. I just narrowed down to people living with disability and how to get inclusive education, right? Because I remembered that when we were growing up in schools, secondary school at the time, we had people living with different disabilities as part of the classes. They were in the classrooms with us. We had people who were deaf, we had people who were in wheelchair, we had people who were blind in the class. So we, as children, related to it. It was not, nobody was discriminating. They were our friends, would help them do their activities. We related well. But then, a few years back, I'm really not seeing those people in society, and I'm wondering what now happened. Because in that school system, with everybody growing up together, we saw it as normal. We appreciated everybody. We, you know, appreciated their intelligence, their talent. They were our friends. Everything was together, and that also helped their own self-esteem, knowing that we are seen as normal people. But after secondary school, I'm no longer seeing them as such in society. So what now happened when they left that safe space with children thinking they are the same with everybody into a society that is larger, that may not have given them the opportunity to even be themselves? What now happened to them? And some of them were no longer able to go to the university. Some of them just dropped out of school. And these were very talented people that just had one or two disabilities. And I'm saying how we can even start it from the schools, have an inclusive education, so that our children, as they are growing, we're all growing together. Imagine if those people were still my friends today. We're all growing together. We're all doing amazing together. They're also human beings. I must consider that.
So let me tell you why, one of the reasons that would happen. So when you finish primary school, let's say you went off to secondary school, and maybe you had to find your way. You got on a bus, maybe 2 buses, and you got to secondary school, or you were a boarder, you stayed in the hostel. How many of those who were living with disability would have done that as easily as you have? So already challenges right in front of them. So what did we do as a society, as government, to make sure that that child that was living with disability, that was just a carefree child, was able to evolve and grow just like you, and make use of the opportunities just like you are doing, but in a way that gave that child dignity. So another child would have maybe forced, was able to do that, but we will do that now realizing the differences between you and that person. Because the society caters to you, but ignores him, ignores everything that they need to live with dignity. So those are the things that we have done. That's why I said it's not enough to speak up, to accept and love. We have to put things in place
I like that.
to show that these people matter, their dreams matter, what it is that they need to get their livelihood and everything, their hustle, everything matters. So we put things in society to allow for easier living for them, and we don't do that.
Yeah, I think we can wrap up on that. You have summed up everything we as part of solution, but let's take this call before we go. Akim from Ojo. Good morning, Akim.
Akim. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ladies. Yeah. I don't have much to say. It's a very hot topic. This is happening because it involves a big man's son. That is my take. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we need to do better as a people. The government needs to do better in terms of, implementing the policies they say they have, because they had quoted the constitution of this right and right and right and right in the write-up, right? But they need to implement it. They need to ensure that these people are, like you just said, are a part of us, and they will be given, the things will be made easy for them so that they can be able to navigate the challenges that life throws at them. We will all have different challenges based off of the disabilities that they have, but we must show that they matter, just like Miriam has said. I think that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we hopefully move on to another topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we saw a story that caught our attention from Diary of a Nigerian Girl. And it was about a young man who had a talent from the time he was very little. And the father recognized that talent and nurtured that talent. He became an adult. And, the talent now started paying off. And he recently won 2 million prize, a prize of 2 million for that particular talent. And after a while, the father had come to him to ask for money for something, but he didn't give him because, according to the story, he said he had fixed the money somewhere and was not able to help. Then the sister came again at some point to ask for money because they needed, some things with the money, and he wasn't able to withdraw the money to pay for the sister. And so the father took it to heart and was, according to the sister, when she was relaying the story to him, said the father was very upset. And he said a few things like, you're now becoming proud because you won 2 million, you are no longer taking care of your family, you're supposed to use the money to take care of your family. And in his own mind and his calculation was, this money is all I have left to my name. And I'm going to make more money in future and will be able to help my family. But right now, this is just all I have. Sister advised him to share the money, maybe into two, and give the father some bits of it. Or he could have given the father the money, from the beginning when he won that money. So I want to get your thoughts on this issue of how entitled do we think the father is? How ungrateful do we think the son is? This matter can play out in different ways. What are your thoughts on the story so far?
Okay, so, when I read the story, when I saw the story, I saw, our culture at play in different ways. So we have this culture, I don't know if you have it in your families, like when a young child finally starts to earn money, usually that very first salary is shared amongst family members. It's not a lot, in my own family, it's not a lot of money. It can even be as little as 1,000 naira. You just share it to aunties, uncles. I finally gotten to a place where I'm able to take care of myself. These are all the people that supported me, involved in raising me, and my own little appreciation. the money does nothing. It's not enough to do anything, but it just shows that it comes from a certain place. So I understood the part of, okay, you have gotten something finally, give to your parents. Now, how much of it, because in this story they were saying that you should give half. I don't agree. And I feel that a parent should not even rely on a child to do that. Now, this child also said, I put it in here so that, you know, we can build on it. Yeah. Secondly, this person also said, I come from a family where we're okay. It's not as if we're in penury and I have to take care of my family members. We've all gone to school. Yes, some of us are still trying to figure out a way in life. My family, my parents still are able to take care of themselves. So they're not in desperate need for money, you know. And I feel that this is where, you know, we can balance culture and, you know, and modern life. So what I would say to the parent is, allow a child to, especially if you have a child that's a good child, the child did not use the money to buy drugs, the child did not use the money to play betting and all the gambling, you know. The child is investing the money and hoping for more investment. Encourage a child like that. If you're in dire need of money, it is so important that you want, you know, that there's nowhere else you could have gotten money. Then sit with your child and have the conversation. You, child, communicate with your parents. You know, our parents too need to hear from us. And when the more they hear from us, they will understand us better. You know, let's not just assume that, because I think a lot of younger people just assume parents are know all, be all, and everything. They should get it, you know. You have to sit with your parents and talk to them, let them understand. But there's this thing where we're seeing a lot of it recently, where there seems to be somewhat pressure from adults or parents on a child that is growing and trying to build themselves. There's a danger of killing that child or killing that dream or killing that hustle before it materializes to the point that it can help the whole family.
Take care of you. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah. Who's ready? Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay, so in our culture, Nigerian culture, what we mostly do is this. We train our kids with the hope that they will come back and reciprocate, yes, and do, you know, whatever it is that we want them to do for us and all. Like, particularly like my dad will always tell you, I don't need anything from you. Make sure you are okay. Be financially okay. My dad has planned his life till, say, he's 70, till he even goes beyond. He has planned his life. He does not ask us for anything because he has been able to adjust to whatever it is, his pension, whatever it is that he's receiving, he has adjusted himself to it. This thing is in our culture, this fact that a child will go, you know, be bringing money, be sending money home and all. And maybe the child is struggling. He's really struggling. He does not have much money and all. And then, you know, he's going to have his own life to live and everything, especially now that the economy and the way the country is difficult. And then you now come and tell the child, bring so amount of money. And maybe the child has planned to do one or two things, you know, and everything. So I think we should just reduce the pressure, especially parents. We should just reduce the pressure and that expectations of the fact that, my child, I'm going to train my child so that my child will come back and come and do stuff for me. I think we should start, you know, eliminating it and start doing something for ourselves.
I like that. Nima.
So it's not every skill or talent that you have that you get paid for, recognized for. If you enter the streets, people talent, yeah, we clear. People plenty talents that, you know, they have no break or their time to blow have not reached. Or how do I even put it in? Their money have not come. They have not broken out with it, with their talent, and they're carrying it around. Some people die with their talent. They never get recognized. So when you have a child who God, for one reason, for the love of God in her life, is merciful, is blessed and graced, and they get recognized for that talent, it means that God wants to give them a buffer, a platform into life. You save it, you nurture it for the child. You don't, no matter how irresponsible or entitled you are as a parent, you save it for that child because there are bigger things that life will throw at them. Especially when a child is 10 and gets that recognition, save it. My cousin had best JAMB results, and she had gone on to do her HND. She graduated with a distinction from Yabatech, went to Unilag, graduated with the first class in her department, the first of its kind. And I remember then, for her score in JAMB Cowbell had given her an award, a fund. My uncle just nurtured it. Everybody, and I don't arrive. My uncle just kept looking at them like this. My cousin went on, as if she continued to break records. This my cousin. I'm sure she's watching. Now she come for Ilea, she cannot cook anything. You see her inside my father's books. She's a bookworm. She'll be there. Reading. When you come, it's your turn. This is what you'll be doing, because I will be upset that all of us girls are at the backyard cooking. I'm coming. See, she leaves. She'll eat, she'll do everything, but she's in her books. And she did not fail us, because that book that she's inside, that's what God gave her. So my uncle nurtured it. I'm always very proud about how it saved. When she was time for her, anytime it was time, she could fund her schooling with all the scholarships that she was getting. She could continue in life with it.
As far as she wanted.
Yes, and you know, there are many people like that, brilliant, you know, but they don't get that opportunity. When that opportunity approaches you in life, you grab it for the benefit of that child. You don't take the child and say, how will your child borrow you money? You won't send a message. You won't send her into streets. You know, because you know they have it. Your role as a parent is to protect it. You don't even allow the conversation of if you have shared 10% but from a sibling to that child. You don't expose that child, because life can be tough. Imagine that it was her friends who helped her nurture, and then they are discussing how she did not share 10%
with them. Yeah.
You as a parent, that's not your own duty, is to make sure that that conversation never happens. And I am proud of the fact that the father helped her nurture that gift that God gave her, but that he expected something from it. You know,
that's reward for job done.
So give her time to maturity. She owes him.
Yes, she does.
I did not come and say that here.
We all have.
You know, he owes him. I did not say that. But let her be able to use what life has helped her with. Because I can see this family that things are not really good. So you don't eat with all your 10 fingers what God has given that child. That child might need to own that particular talent to fulfillment. And if you take from now what the funds are, so some schools will give a child scholarship. They'll say this child has won $1 million. All these platforms, all these brands, they'll give the child. When the child, they'll say all those monies are, the amounts will be channeled to the scholarship for the education, we channel to the education of the child. And you see some parents will frown it. You won't carry the money, go take chop
now.
With all your 10 fingers, you know. it's just summer on this particular one. Leave this child, let her or him sharpen that skill and fully mature it to the point where you cannot say, you know, look back. This is family, because they can miss their ways. If a group of young guys had this clique in my neighborhood, and I used to watch them. Then one of them decided, I don't need to go to school, I want to start a business. The rest will just come and sit with him at his business every single day. Unknown to the parents, when he's done, they take their share. They are not helping him do anything. They just sit with him at his business every day. Then he would, you know, when I notice it now, as usual, and I don't know how to mind your business, I called the parents that, is this how this boy is going to be? Because he's not going to be young forever.
To make it.
You know, he's not going to, he's not reinvesting, he's not growing. Because of this one thing he has pulled out and successfully started, he has not fully achieved it. He's not saving up. What of expansion plan, all of those things. So the parents now started having that conversation with him. Something now, he didn't see it immediately. Something now happened where the friends called him. They are so proud. How much do you have? And they all left him. All of them.
Oh, no.
God pushed them out new.
No, but it needed to happen for him to see it.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I remember that day he wouldn't listen. So every evening we take them, after they close the business, we take them.
Money.
Go and drink, all of them. You
can't
do any other life.
There was something that, you know, I always share that helped me and my husband stabilize. Was because of the fact that both parents on both sides understood that these were young people and we have to allow them to grow and build so that they are strong. Now, when you are able to help, you can now, because you cannot be struggling to stand and be struggling to pull somebody. When you're standing well, you're grounded, you can now pull people. And they never demanded, and even when I graduated from school and everything, my first salary, everything, they never demanded for anything. My father would just say, let me pray for you. And that was it. And his parents as well never demanded for anything. It was after a few years, we had gotten married to how many? Well, it's 7 to 8 years. When I now realized that, these people may not be with us forever. we have to start doing something.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, that's true. It didn't occur to us. Like you said, you can actually forget. But then one day, I said, I should put these people on a form of salary, right? Because now I'm doing it without stress. There's an ease of doing it. It's joyful for me to, I'm paying a lot of people. I just add everybody collects their payments, you know. And they received it with so much joy. They are receiving it not because they need it, but because of the blessing. You know, the joy of, I finally got in. My father calls his own pension. My pension has entered, oh, God bless you, you know, because they gave us that space. And growing up, I had friends who their parents did not give that space to stand. From immediately, some from university, they were sending money home.
Yes.
Sending money home. They had to do different things to be able to make money and send home. So while they were training themselves, they were sending money home. Some immediately they finished and got that first job. Every family member lined up. Until today, it's still a struggle. And I feel bad that these parents are not paying attention to how their children are struggling. And some of them were not poor, that they could not take them of themselves. It was just that entitlement of, Nami born you, I raised you. You should be able to give me this. What advice, because we're coasting down, time is going, do we now give to parents on how to allow their children stand? On how to raise them? You're supposed to, it's your job, like you said, protect them. Love them unconditionally, not based off of what you will get at the end of the day. Ramatu said, you raise them because you want them to now be your retirement plan. That is unfair to the children.
That one I have objection.
What's your objection?
No, I don't have it to say.
Okay.
So me, I have objection.
What's the objection?
They say, a journey. The money I'm spending to send my children to school is thrift I'm contributing. Is my contribution? No,
that's wrong.
It's me that will pack it. I will not die for somebody else to pack it. Did they beg you to burn them? No, auntie, that one, that debate, don't even start it.
We will start it. You decided to give
the
birth to them.
upbringing, the investment, the everything I'm putting into my kids while I'm alive, in my lifetime, in good health, I will pack it. Amen.
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 We agree. We will always pack it.
So,
but don't start with the mindset of.
You have the mindset because it's your Madam Universe.
Are you going to start?
It's you that is telling me now I should not have mindset. No, I will not demand.
No, this is not what she's saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Break it down so that people will understand.
No. My business is not to demand. At least not when my child is not even mature.
Yeah.
When my child reach one stage, I know
I
will call the child. I learn from the best. Hello, where's my alert? I've not seen it. That's where I want to
do. Yes, that's okay. That's right.
But in this, as you have said, nurture your child, because you see this money we are talking about. In this case, it's even annoying.
Yeah.
It's 2 million. You will finish.
Killing money in a twinkle of an eye.
Finish.
Yeah.
And imagine that child has not fully matured with that skill, and they come back to you, daddy, money for maybe it's music now.
Money for studio
session. I want to blow, promote. I want to market. You know, all those kind of things. Or you know, that's you, and you feel anytime the child remembers that money, that will further cause a rift.
Yeah.
So there's a timing for when you harvest.
Miriam.
Oh, okay. Do I have time?
Yeah,
okay.
we're just wrapping up.
So I was just going to say that we have a culture that is good, which is we raise our children to remember that they have family, you know, with a sense of responsibility for their family. But also we've come to a point in time, especially now, where I'm seeing families also abuse that sense of responsibility that we have put in the younger ones. Abuse in such a way that before the child is strong enough, before the child is old enough, we're already demanding them of things, you know, that they are struggling to do.
Yeah.
Instead of allowing, you know, when you plant it's like when you plant your corn, from when it's having ears and you're breaking it down, it will not grow into a full cup.
Yes.
So what you need to do is allow that child grow and be strong enough to, you know, reinvest. I use the word reinvest in you. But really, what you get from your child, the joy is not in how much money they give you. It's in the fact that you have raised a full human being, a wholesome human being that can wake up, earn a living, and also have something to give back. Yes. That is what we want, and that's what I encourage Nigerians to do.
Thank you so much, ladies. We've had a wonderful show today, and that's all we can take on the show. Your View Pidgin continues tomorrow. Don't miss it, and have a lovely Easter break. Bye-bye now.